Hello, Gemini. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Gemini, I think this is pretty big for a lot of you. So let's get into this. Transgression, flaws, contradictions, and mistake, and then you have milk and honey. Now, when you look at milk and honey, this talks about opportunities, abundance, trusting that all your needs are going to be met, having all of these beautiful things in your life, but there is a mistake that's being made somewhere. Now, the protection message from Milk and Honey talks about someone who is looking to escape what's really going on by turning to comfort and pleasure. So like basically temporary satisfaction. And I think that a lot of you are realizing that you've been making mistakes in your life when really you could have everything that you want and everything that you could ever need. You could have that. But if you've been making mistakes, transgression talks about how you need to assess, redirect, and come back into harmony with the voice of your soul. What do you really want? What do you really need? So wherever you feel like you've been making mistakes, this is saying that you're redirecting now and you're looking at not settling. That's what I want to say. You're not settling for anything less than milk and honey. Right? Like I want full abundance. I want full happiness. I want to have all of my needs met. And I've been making mistakes that are leading me to temporary satisfaction, but not giving me everything that I could possibly want. I look at this as soon as you redirect, you're going to get everything that you want, but not settling. But what was interesting here is with Moonology. You pulled the first quarter moon. Your commitment is being tested. Now, some of you looking at that may be feeling like you're making a mistake in what you are doing or who you are involved with. But maybe the mistake there is thinking that you're not going to have your needs met. You know, it could be one of those things where you're not seeing any results and you may think it's a mistake. But you're like almost there though. And this is what this one's talking about. It says, I'm committed to my dreams and move towards them with confidence. The answer to your question is yes, but not yet. You're halfway to your goal. You still need to put in a bit more effort. And then it says, sometimes we just need to realize how much we want something. And sorry about my voice, guys. All right. Here is your overall. The Eight of Swords. So feeling stuck, feeling like you're in a situation where you're just trapped. Somebody else could be stuck here. But, you know, like I always say, the eight of Swords, my God, I was going to say the Eight of Thoughts. The Eight of Swords is about the thoughts we put in place that make us think that we can't go somewhere or that we can't move forward. A lot of times it's fear of moving forward into the future. You know, but very clearly here, there's just no way. You feel like there's no way out. Okay. So in the past, the Three of Swords, and that may be where the Eight of Swords is coming through. So if you're looking at a situation where you have been heartbroken or you've gone through a separation or you feel like you've been betrayed, you may be looking at it like there's no way of getting past that which has happened in the past. Yeah. So the Four of Cups, there is this numb feeling from this. Usually the Four of Cups is going to show boredom. You may not see, you know, the good that is being offered to you, that or you're disappointed by what's being offered to you. It's not good enough. But I feel like numb, like emotionally, I'm just so numb that I don't see how this could be any better than what I already have in front of me. You know, what I've already experienced, what I already know from this situation. How could it be better with that Eight of Swords? And it may be one of those things where I don't want this. I don't want this in my life. And then the Hangman, but yeah, you're still looking at it though. But the thing is with the Hangman, when we're trying to gain that enlightenment and see things from a different perspective, it's saying that until that happens, you can't move forward with the situation. You can't make a decision. You can't act on anything. So I don't necessarily feel like you're putting your life on hold. I think what you're trying to do here is, you know, is see things from a perspective that isn't, you know, so constrained with the Eight of Swords. But clearly there is this feeling of being heartbroken coming through. being emotionally lethargic to what is, being presented to you if the situation is coming back around. But you can't move forward on this. I think that you're trying to see a different perspective here. But with the Eight of Swords, it's just no matter which way you look at it, it still goes back to the fact that you've had to experience that. So I don't think that you're intentionally putting your life on hold for anybody. Now, if we're talking about somebody else here, this may be somebody that, you've been separated from for a little bit. It may be coming back around, or you may be looking at the situation, but clearly you're not happy with what is being, put in front of you, so to speak, with that Four of Cups. And it may be them waiting for you to see a different perspective. But this situation isn't going anywhere. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, who else had that there? The Ten of Swords is your advice. Now, if you feel like there is no way of getting up from this, then maybe it just needs to stay done and over with. But clearly this is about something that ended in a really painful way for you. And what you're focused on is the fact that you were the one who was hurt with the Three of Swords, right? But I would say, though, that, if we're looking at moving forward, or you're wanting to try to move forward, especially with the Hangman being there, one of the first things that you're going to have to look at is getting past this, right? Getting past how badly things may have ended, how badly you may have been hurt or let down. You may be in this place where you just can't let go of those thoughts, and you can't let go of the feelings that you may have had surrounding this, but you're not stuck in depression. That's the thing. But you're moving into this place with the Four of Cups where you're just numb. I can't cry anymore about this. Now, for some of you, it could literally be that, you're kind of stuck in this place where you're thinking about a breakup or a separation that may have happened. But if we're looking at needing to move things forward, like I said, with the Ten of Swords, you've already hit rock bottom. There's no point in staying there. But is this a reminder, though, that what you experienced was pretty fucking bad? In your environment, the Two of Pentacles. Now, with the Four of Cups, clearly you're not happy about having to try to be flexible. Some of you may be in this place here where you're trying to figure this situation out, or you don't want to drop it just yet. You're still trying to keep things going. But with the Four of Cups, this could really be about not being happy with the fact that you're dealing with somebody here who is, clearly not making a choice. It's not the Two of Swords, but the thing is that there are two different things here that are being balanced back and forth, right? And are you one of them? Or is that where, the emotional apathy is coming from this place of realizing that, you were a part of what this person was trying to balance out? Now, if this is about you, this is basically saying that you're not happy with trying to figure this situation out. And it may not be something that you want in your life, but yet you're still putting yourself in this position of, I'm not making a decision and I'm not acting on anything with the Hangman, But it's interesting to me looking at all of this, because the thing is you've moved past, and it's funny because the Four of Cups is going to oh my God, if I could talk right. The Four of Cups happens before the Five. But I feel like this is where you progress out of that. But all you see in the past is how badly you were hurt and how things have ended. Because the focus is still there with that Ten of Swords being your best path to follow. And that is why things are not moving forward. But it's also why you forget about trying to move things forward with this situation if it's coming back around. But you're not moving forward, though, either, with the Eight of Swords being the overall. But I think it's very specifically about a situation here that you may still be trying to figure out with the Two of Pentacles, right? But clearly you're not happy about it with the Four of Cups. Wow, man. Your hopes and your fears, the Four of Swords. And this for you would be about needing some peace of mind, needing to recover here. There would be the fear that, as far as communication, that, you're not hearing anything, right? But I don't know. I see this more so as you hoping that there's going to be some kind of peace and tranquility out of this craziness. Like, I almost think that some of you just need to shut off communication for you to get some peace of mind here, because I really do look at this as you moving into a place where it's not that you're going into a coma here. You really need a minute to recover, because where you are mentally shows all the pain and the difficulty that you faced. And I really do think that you are wanting to move forward. So the hangman may not be a bad thing here, and it may just be that you need a timeout, or you need to stop talking to someone. Maybe the situation doesn't need to keep being in this place of needing to figure it out. We got to keep this going. We got to figure this out. No, because you're not happy. And you're just like, meh. And that's how I feel about the Four of Cups. Like, nah, whatever, Wow, man. Yeah, I would say with the Four of Swords, that's really about you needing to take a time out. We need a break. And then coming out, the Seven of Wands. Okay, so now this could be that in terms of communication, if we're dealing with another person here, whatever it is that they're saying to you, it's not changing your mind, and it's not going to influence the way that you see the situation. The only way that you're going to feel like things are moving forward and that you're not stuck anymore is if you take a time out, right? Because you need it. But you may be dealing with somebody here who is constantly being persistent. Now, you may get into this place, though, with the Seven of Wands where you finally have had enough and you give them a piece of your mind, right? And then the Wheel. And yeah, this could be about somebody that may be wanting like a second chance. And you may be kind of like laying down the law with the Seven of Wands. You may consider this. But I don't know that you think that things are going to move forward in a better direction. So let's talk about the Sun first. That is going to be about, first of all, with the Three of Swords, is the past, you being drained and not having the energy to deal with this, especially leading into the Four of Cups. But it's also about needing to see things clearly. But I think that you are struggling in doing that all the way down, right? Now, if you are dealing with somebody, it could be that they're trying to get you to see something here and breathe life into the situation. But I really think that it's about you and you needing some new energy. You needing to feel, like you need to feel better. It's not about the situation being revitalized. It's about you. Now, when you move into the Six of Wands, this is where we're talking about, first of all, victory, a personal victory, right? But this is like wanting to make sure that you can still hold your head up and say that I did the right thing. And it's not necessarily, I don't think, about recognition and attention, unless it's about the other person here that's wanting you to see something different about this situation. But the thing is that, man, they have drained you to the point where you just don't feel anything. I think that you give it like a second thought here, but the Eight of Swords still being the overall is saying that there is no way for you to see how this situation is going to move forward. And then not only that, but there are some things that they're going to have to recognize when it comes to the Four of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. You don't want to be the one that's constantly trying to keep things going. You don't want to be the one in this situation where you have to figure things out. Now, moving into the Wheel of Fortune, right? Again, it's the ups and downs, things coming back around, cycles repeating themselves, and it may show an opportunity here for better things to happen, yes, but how drained were you by this? How exhausted are you from this situation? I mean, to get to the point where you don't feel anything anymore, that's pretty fucking bad. But yet I think there is still a part of you here that is still looking at it like maybe it can move forward. But the Eight of Swords, it just can't right now. And that may be where you are with the Seven of Wands. Like, I can't do this right now. You're going to have to give me a minute and you need to back off. because you need to feel better. You need to feel like you are doing the right thing for you. But I do think that at some point you're going to be looking at it like maybe this can go in a different direction with the Wheel of Fortune. But that depends on you. And if you can see things from a different perspective, or if all you can see is what you experienced. Wow, Gemini. I'm so sorry, guys. But I would say that, yeah, you do need to speak up. You need to speak up for yourself and what you've experienced, how you're feeling. But I look at that as you need to back off for a minute. Compassion is about needing to have compassion for yourself and for other people, right? But if you're truly being compassionate here to yourself, you would not still be focused on the Three of Swords and the Ten of Swords and having to deal with these issues and why these issues are the reason why things are not moving forward. Now, some of you, yeah, you could literally be putting your life on hold for a situation that was not that great. But do you get to the point here where it's like, no, I need to have a minute to myself. Like I almost feel like regain your composure almost. But it starts with you needing to be compassionate with yourself here and realize that you need some time to reconnect with the voice of your own soul. And again, flaws and mistakes and contradictions, right? But when I look at mystery, I think for you look at this situation as it's just not clear. But it's also about accepting, that maybe this is one of those things that just won't ever, get to a conclusion or a solution for you, right? Like it's a mystery right now. But this one is about needing to see the mystery in life and the mystery of why things happen the way that they do. So now the other part of it for me is like looking at it like, okay, maybe this is coming back around for a reason. And maybe you will understand that later on. But only when you give yourself a time out here to kind of reconnect with your soul and what you really want, what you need. And then actions speak loudly, express your love through your actions, right? But that, I think, is actions are going to speak loudly to you when it comes to someone else. But forgiveness, right? You're not moving forward. Nothing is happening. Nothing is changing. As long as you continue to hold on to the past pain, and where you have clearly been let down and disappointed. Man, oh man. But remember here, forgiveness is where you really need to forgive yourself first, right? Forgive yourself for having allowed yourself to be a part of a situation where you could have been hurt that badly, or where you have been hurt that badly, right? But actions. Somebody needs to follow through with what they are saying. If they're really wanting to fight for this, they need to show that they recognize what you have experienced and what you felt in this situation. And if they don't, then we're just going to be looking at another cycle coming back around and the same bullshit happening, right? But the wheel could turn either way in this situation. But I think what's more important is that you give yourself a timeout. And it's not that you're putting your life on hold. It's you needing to reconnect again with your own soul here, right? But pay attention to the actions that somebody is showing you. But you need to start with this forgiveness and letting go of whatever has happened.